Got ourselves a massive NBA slate upon us with so many guys questionable. When I read this list in a moment, you're going to laugh, but we're still going to do what we always do here. One more NBA slate before the big Christmas Day slate. We're going to compare my projection to Stokastic, one of the industry leaders. We'll look at some ownership as well. Of course, we're going to sim some DFS lineup at 4:30 Eastern time. We're also going to hop into the world of Unabated, get ourselves $30 off. First of all, the promo code SPLASH. But also going to talk more about them today. Look at the prop betting markets. By the end of this video, you'll know the must plays, along with my splash plays for the DFS slate. And let's get into it. Appreciate you guys being here. Happy holidays. This window's a little bit small. Can I make this bigger? There you go. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. All right. Why did it fucking shrink again? Hot start here. All right. Let's read the tweet. Questionable guys right now. There are entirely too many. And shout out to the chat too. Appreciate it. I'm drinking water. That's that. I got 2 hours of streams going today. I'm staying on Satan's good side, Santa's good side, stay on everybody's good side. That's the goal. All right. And shout out Extra QT, being extra cute as always. Questionable. We got LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis. Luka Doncic, the one I wrote for DraftKings Network today with the unabated conditional NBA projections. You want to see what things would look like for a world without Luka Doncic, for Kyrie Irving and PJ Washington. That game, also the Mavs, I think a 10.5 point favorite. Could be a line that maybe says no Luka. Could be a line that does have Luka in. If Luka plays, maybe a little bit of value on it would be my guess. But Luka Doncic, he's questionable. Anthony Davis, questionable. Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, RJ Barrett, Jamal Murray, Desmond Bane, Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey, Ivica Zubac, Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, Dean Wade, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Lonzo Ball. Doubtful for the Jazz, John Collins and Keontae George are not going to be in the projections we talk about today. Probable Tyrese Maxey. So Maxey fans, strap in the Maxey pads, as they call themselves. You guys are looking good. But yeah, there's a lot of guys right now where as of 4:04 p.m. here on the East Coast, slate's going to move around entirely. Slate's going to be completely different at some point. So that's basically where we are for today. It is an NBA slate where there's going to be a lot of moving pieces, a lot of guys not going to play either because of injury or because they're just fucking faking it for the holidays. You guys probably can get how that would go. Yes, everybody. George Mikan, rolling over in his grave. And why did it shrink again? What did I say about your dong? The word dong, just classless. Let's go over here, though. Let's look at my projections. Look at my top projected guys here. Let's see what we have for the slate. And I'm clicking every tab but the one I have to click. All right. I also realized this morning there was one point where I did not switch the tabs when I was talking, which admittedly, look, I do that a little bit more often than I should. That really drove me nuts to see on the replay when I do the timestamp. So today I'm making sure this NBA stream, we're going to be on the right tab one way or another. All right, so the weird thing for today's slate, you do have 2 NBA games, the Lakers game, the Nuggets games. These are ones where they're not going to be on the main slate for either DraftKings or FanDuel today. FanDuel usually does have the late games on it. Today they don't, so that's one thing to keep in mind here. That said, if you were including every game together, too busy blocking fools. Fucking that guy. That guy hit me up on Twitter too, and his Twitter handle is him literally dropping N-bombs and like gay slurs. I'm like, exactly who I thought you were, but that's the name of trolls on YouTube. We move on. And he also then tagged everybody I do business with to try to get me reported. It's like, oh my God, dude. Monday on Christmas week, we're having fun. Nikola Jokic, 63.3 points, top projected play overall on the slate. If you're playing a night slate on FanDuel or DraftKings, he looks like a good play to go to today. In that situation, $12K salary, doesn't matter for the main slate. Anthony Davis, assuming that he plays, looks pretty good. If he doesn't go, it's certainly going to be more opportunity for all the remaining Lakers, whether it be LeBron, who's also questionable, guys like Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell. So the Lakers situation, a key one if you are playing a night slate. Karl Anthony Towns, my top projected player tonight on the main slate. 53.8 fantasy points for him, 50.8 for Stokastic. So 23% sim ownership for me compared to 7% for Karl Anthony Towns on the regular ownership that they're expecting for the field. Towns, as I always going to be the case on these videos, I like Towns more than market. It honestly very rarely lets me down. One guy who I've regularly overprojected compared to the industry, and he just does his thing. Does he hit always enough to win a tournament ceiling? Not always, but he usually will give you 50 reliably, and I'm okay with that at 10 too. LaMelo Ball, no Brandon Miller today. As a result, he looks pretty good. 50.1 projection for me compared to 50.5 for Stokastic. I'm getting LaMelo Ball 27% of the time. Field will have him at 15. Joel Embiid looking pretty good as well. Same issue with him, though, where you kind of have to juke his rates. Embiid going to be chalked with that 70 BS dropped on Wemby last time. Embiid also played pretty hot versus Charlotte. Of course, the large pussy, Joel Embiid. he did duck the Cleveland Cavaliers game as expected. Did put up big numbers against Charlotte. He's been playing well on the year. Hard to critique him too much. I guess maybe, let's see, matchup-wise. Yeah, matchup-wise, like the Wemby last game thing, I don't know how much that would really matter for ownership. I'm going to have less in the field of him. I'm okay with it. I do like Cat a little bit more. Cat is more expensive, but yeah, I don't know that I would have a big reason why I would say just the projections, really. Like, Cat projects well. He's going to be 1/4 his owned. I think for the DFS logic, it would just be that you're paying up to get contrarian there. Even if you want to throw my projections out the window. I like Towns more than Embiid straight up, and I'm getting more Towns than Embiid. So that's a stand for me. Getting half the field's exposure right now for Embiid, 12% for me, compared to 25% for the field. Luka Doncic, another Q tag for him. Questionable right now. I'm getting him very little in lineups, getting him actually a low projection as well. 49-point projection for me compared to 56 for Stokastic. I'm low on Luka, but also he's been underproducing this year, averaging 1.45 fantasy points a minute, which is okay. But, like a Giannis at the similar price points, he's like 1.75 fantasy points a minute. Jokic about 1.8 on the year. Like, there are guys who are better players right now, fantasy-wise per minute than Luka Doncic. So if he's in, he's not a priority play for me, but at that ownership, I get taking the shot. It's just 4.2x value. Not really a credible play. LeBron and Cade Cunningham project well if you're playing the night slate. Again, not both guys. LeBron and Q-Tag right now. Cade Cunningham will likely go, I assume, unless barring something weird happening. Luka's low-key fatness is catching up to him. It's unfair. I think it's just that Kyrie is doing well. PJ Washington's doing well. Like Jokic too is the same thing. People make fun of him for being fat. And it's like, he's not really fat. They carry their weight differently. And Luka does seem to drink some beers, and Jokic, they party. Shout out, I got Chunk here to be sad about best balls ending and to waste more time. Oh, well, hey, NBA is here for you if your best ball season's ending. Hopefully I'll have a few bullets alive there for the big board, but yeah, BBM ending for me, bit of a downer. Still haven't shaken that one yet, but we'll get there. Jason Tatum, I haven't projected right with Stokastic. The field's going to be at 0.8%. I got 0. Şengün, field's going to have 12%. I got 30 with the 47.7 projection for him. If I'm not getting Cat, I'm pretty comfortable getting the Şengün. That's another thing that's pretty much a standard for me. Two of the key plays in the slate. So I made this thumbnail this morning for Ryan Rollins, knowing that there's going to be no Dame Lillard today. Rollins came back to the lineup. They played 30 minutes over the weekend versus Washington. In that same game, we had no Giannis as well. Bobby Portis went for 70 fantasy points. He's 6,300 here. He's playing Chicago today. So Bobby Portis going to be major chalk. I have him at 47.5 fantasy points. Stokastic has been 45.1. He expected to be in 95% of lineups tonight at that $6,300 salary. So really the only reason I think you shouldn't play Portis is if he didn't start. If he doesn't start, which happened one time in November, basically Doc Rivers played him as the backup 5 in a game where Giannis wasn't going. Don't really know why they were playing Miami in that spot. There's really no logical reason. But with Portis having just had the same situation over the weekend and having gone nuts versus Washington, Bobby Portis, great play, chalky play. He's kind of not your free square, but he's your square of the day you're going to get in lineups. That Portis ownership may as well make 7 spots in lineups. He's good chalk. He's good chalk. And also, well, let's sort by value here, and we'll see some more good chalk. The guy in the thumbnail, my boy Ryan Rollins, back in the rotation. And he is going to be our top value of the day. Ryan Rollins, I got him in 100% of my sim lineup. So he and Bobby Portis in 99.3. Only way this doesn't work is if Chicago somehow blows out Milwaukee. And even then, Ryan Rollins is probably playing the blowout. Let me pull up Popcorn Machine real fast because this seems worthwhile. So Ryan Rollins started last game versus Washington, played 30.6 minutes, 14 points, 3 peripheral stats, not including turnovers. On the year, Ryan Rollins has been a pretty good producer, averaging, I believe, around 1 fantasy point per minute, might be slightly over it. Ryan Rollins is averaging 1.02 fantasy points per minute, 21.5% usage, 16.5% assist rate. True shooting's at 59%. Very good number as well for him. He's been legit good. So Ryan Rollins, to me, a core play. I have no idea why this stat box came up, and I can't get rid of it. Let's go back to my projections. Point being, Ryan Rollins played legit minutes over the weekend. Same situation. Bobby Portis also went nuts there. It does feel to me like you have to play Ryan Rollins, have to play Bobby Portis, and yes, your lineups get a little bit shorter. But really, it's an IQ test for these first 2 spots. You have to play these guys. There really isn't a comparable value. Your comparable value would be Svi Mikhailuk, 3.7% for the field. I got him at 10%. He's only playing 21 minutes, though. Ryan Rollins projected for 28, so it's basically that. Portis live to have a revenge game against Chicago as he has to get ejected. I guess. Chicago, yeah, he would be a guy that would be vengeful. Again, I've said this before in a few shows, mentioned it this morning for the NBA, or the NFL, rather. For a lot of the revenge games, at least on player podcasts, they talk about that, and it's like, it is a real thing in basketball. The guys try to get a few more shots up, whatever. But it's generally if it's somewhere that they didn't want to be, or they did want to be, and now there's somewhere they don't want to be. For Bobby Portis, you go from Chicago to Milwaukee, it's kind of a lateral move, and you want a championship. So how vengeful will he really be? I don't know. That troll from the NFL show is obnoxious. Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. Look, I do this work for the good people who watch things. I don't do the work because somebody's going to fucking make my day annoying. But yeah, one of the worst dudes come across in a while, especially seeing his Twitter. I was like, my God, just please find joy. It's always all saying content and in life. Slate's going to flip on its head when Trey and Luka get rolled out. That certainly would. You would get a lot more of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie not questionable today, so we won't get the Spencer Dinwiddie surprise we did on Friday. But still a situation where, yeah, definitely a lot more Q tags out there. If you want to scroll back to the beginning of the video, I read out all the questionable tags we still have from Underdog NBA's handle. There's a lot of them. So the slate could be meaningfully different. This part, though, won't change. Ryan Rollins and Bobby Portis, they're going to be what they are from the moment you hear this now to the moment the slate goes. They're the best plays in the slate. I do work for assholes like you. That's true. Your kindness, bleh, I don't appreciate it. Walker Kessler, you do give me some awful chats to read. I will admit that. Walker Kessler, decent value here. No John Collins, lots more rebounds to go around for him. I think he's going to look a lot better. I'm getting him 35%. Here to the field's 10. Chris Middleton, the issue is he's projected for 24 minutes. That said, per minute, I'd have him at about 1.4 fantasy points a minute today. Should get a boost in every category. Used to be a player where if Giannis were out, you'd play him automatically alongside Portis. Now that's maybe not the case, but you could still play him, though. Again, 6K salary, 34-point projection for me. Stokastic actually a little bit higher, which kind of surprised me. Got him in 47% of my lineups, but I would say makes me the most uncomfortable because I think there's a chance that, Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis, very high likelihood they play 30. If Middleton doesn't crack 25, he's got to be so efficient that 25 minutes. He can be, but, you run the risk that how efficient can you really be if you're only going to play half the game. Royce O'Neal looks good. Lots of guys missing for Phoenix. That doesn't really matter. Zach Edey, okay center play, 23-minute projection. That's basically it. So let's go to the game-by-game view here. And guys, if you appreciate the content, please do show some love. Hit the like button, subscribe. We are so close to getting our first 500 subs on here, and that'll get us monetized and all that once I hit the watch hours goal, which should be coming up soon. So please show some love. Hit the like button, subscribe again every day, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Besides tomorrow, where there's no slate, and Christmas Day, 50-50 on me doing a show or not. But either way, Thursday and Friday, I'll be here. So please come hang out, and I'll do the best I can to give you good NBA data, takes, all that as we go. And check out the sponsors too, of course. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Stokastic, 15% off. Data and Sims, and of course, Unabated, a presenting sponsor here. Big deal coming up for them that I'll mention when we get to their portion of the video, but you can see it on the screen right now. $699 for a year of Unabated, or the rest of the year. So pretty big savings. And obviously you're paying for the entire thing up front. So I get not everybody would want to do that, but if you got the means, you will make money using their tools and data for betting. I can pretty much guarantee it. All right, Houston, 113.3 implied points. Charlotte, 106.8. Here for Houston, again, Şengün, really the priority play. Got him in almost a third of my lineups. A little bit of Jalen Green for me, 9%. Everybody else under 5. So that's sort of just for the sake of time here. Won't dwell on it too much. I think Şengün, a good play at center. Always willing to go there, especially against a team like Charlotte. He could rack up rebounds, rack up assists, rack up blocks. He could go nuts. On the Hornets side, LaMelo Ball looks pretty good to me, just under 30% for him compared to the field's 15. Nothing else looks that good. Brandon Miller's out, so you could maybe make a case, go to more Miles Bridges, something like that. LaMelo Ball, really the biggest beneficiary here, projected for about 50 fantasy points for me. A little bit higher for Stokastic at a $9,800 salary. Strong play here. Is a tough match on paper versus Houston. Shouldn't be a high-paced spot. Houston also pretty efficient defensively, but LaMelo, just the high usage for him. I mean, he's averaging 40% usage on the year, which is crazy. 45.5 assist rate as well, basically killing 95% of the possessions when he's on the floor, which is really an insane number. I don't know how it can hold up. Honestly, I don't know how it's held up as much as it has, but the rates are even higher in a small sample size without Brandon Miller as well. I just didn't need to juke him any further. But honestly, you can make a case LaMelo might be an even better play. Like if they hang in that game against Houston, it's probably because LaMelo had 45% usage, assisted well, That's sort of how that should go. Utah, 109.3 implied points. Cleveland, 123.3, as I mentioned. No Keontae George, no John Collins expected. Both guys doubtful. Maybe they get a last-minute upgrade, but usually doubtful tag means you're not going to go. They're not in the projections right now, but Walker Kessler is. I'm getting him in 35% of the top 150 lineups. I sent out before the show. Getting less on Lowry Markkinen. I'm lower on him by about 3.2 fantasy points, which is a pretty big discrepancy. He's only been averaging 1.01 fantasy points per minute. Should benefit from not having Collins out there, though. Much like Kessler will get more in rebounds. Markkinen gets a little bit more usage, a little bit more rebounds as well. So you want to go to Markkinen. I get it. I would prefer Kessler. I think he's got a lot cleaner path to an outlier day in general. The issue is just going against Cleveland, really. Like, Cleveland, a tough defense. Cleveland going to get a lot of rebounds, going to make it tough on him to get that ceiling. At least he'll be by the rim with Jared Allen. So, honestly, 35% ownership for Kessler feels like a lot. That's just what I got in the top 150. I feel like if you got 20% Kessler, that's more than enough to make a pro Kessler stand. I will not going crazy. Jordan Clarkson at 5,300, only shooting guard eligible, looks pretty good. Got him at 17% of lineups, averaging 1.03 fantasy points per minute of the year. 1.08 is what I would have for him today. Again, you're not getting Keontae George out there. It does make the production for both Sexton and Clarkson look a little bit better. But Sexton's price tag, a little bit harder to get to. I got more Clarkson naturally. Steve Mikhailiuk, 10% of him as another one of the value plays on the slate. He's honestly playing pretty well in the year. 60.4% true shooting, 22% usage, assisting a little bit as well. Only 0.85 fantasy points per minute, but if you got to start, maybe you'd feel a little bit better about it. I don't know how he would, but 20.8 minutes, giving him a decent projection. Another value play, he and Ryan Rollins, your two pay down options if you want to go that direction. Cleveland on their side, nothing looks that good. Got 10% Evan Mobley, 3% Donovan Mitchell, a little bit above the field on Mobley, a little bit under the field on Mitchell. Darius Garland, 5% compared to 4%. Not a big stand here. Tournament plays for sure. With Max Strus coming back in, these guys kind of need to get priced down a little bit more. Strus, not a big producer or anything, only playing 18 minutes, but you got a lot of guys to do a little bit of everything between him, LeVert, Allen, Garland, the actual starters, Mitchell and Mobley, the key guys. Dean Wade had a big tournament day recently. Don't think you want to go there again with 22-minute projection. It's a nice total for Cleveland. Theoretically, easy matchup. But really, the prices and projections just kind of aren't there for Cleveland overall. So you have a feel for it. Go ahead. Like, tournament options for sure there. But on a slate this big, you want really clean projections ideally. Boston, 112.8 implied points. Orlando, 102.3. Not a big priority for me for anything on Boston. Same for the field. Everybody under 1% projected ownership. It's kind of what happens. We have Tatum now priced up to the ceiling after the monster game he had over the weekend. Jaylen Brown, a little bit cheaper now, but still not really at that 5x value you want to see. Porzingis, same thing. Derek White, same thing. They're all a little bit loftily priced. So hard to love Boston, but they should be playing hard against Orlando, but a pace down spot. Still functionally a good defense too, despite all the guys they're missing. Orlando, 102.3 implied points on their side. Jalen Suggs, the big winner in terms of opportunity with Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero out. Mo Wagner torn ACL as well. So a lot of guys who got shots up are now not in the rotation. Jalen Suggs, I'm getting 17% compared to the field 7. Not a huge stand, but double the field on that. I'm at 1.23 fantasy points a minute. And that's just off his normal usage rates. He was projecting highly enough for me. I didn't feel the need to juke it up further. Goga Bitadze getting 33 projected for me compared to 34.1 for Stokastic. 6% compared to the field's 9 and change. Jonathan Isaac, a little bit of a value here at 3,500, getting him 7% of the time. Really Suggs or bust for me. Cole Anthony, you can take the shot that he comes in and gets some minutes because he got really hot scoring, like happened, I think, over the weekend as well for him. 15.8 minute projection, though, does not look that good. So if Suggs were out, that would certainly open up Cole Anthony more. Anthony Black to a lesser extent. Well, Anthony Black to a similar extent, I guess. But Cole Anthony, if you get Suggs out, that's a key thing. So everything would kind of change if you do get Suggs out. San Antonio, 105.8 implied points. Philadelphia, 111.8. I am low on everything here for the most part. You're getting Devin Vassell starting again, projected to play 29 minutes. That does hurt the outlook for me with Wembanyama. Sohan as well, been keeping that 20% or higher usage. Vassell at 25%. Wemby at 32%, so he's kind of asserting himself a little bit more. But still, you have enough guys there who take shots away. Chris Paul, with his high assist rate, does take some opportunities his way as well. So really, San Antonio, not a priority for me. Wemby at 11K, it's hard for me to get there with that price tag. I do have projected about 3.5 fantasy points lower. Probably because of the fact I'm weighting this season performances more. And between his monster games, he kind of has a lot of iffy games. I'd rather pay down for Towns, rather pay down for Şengün. That's how it's looking for me. Rather pay down for Embiid in the same game, getting 12% of him, still much less than the field's 25. This is with his last season rates, the 49.4 projection I have for him, compared to 52.4. My guess would be that Stokastic knocked down the rates for Maxey and George a little bit to give Joel Embiid more breathing room. I let them keep their rates and kind of just redistribute based on the overall pie of what the expected stats are based upon the Vegas total. So if you want to understand why there's probably a difference in projection, that's why. Embiid, okay, play to me, not a priority. Still a decent value. He'll be played by about a quarter of the field. So if you want to match the field, I think that's reasonable. Maxey and George, tournament plays, price tags aren't great. Maxey a little bit cheap, I guess, but could come down a little bit more, I think. And that's really that for Philly. Brooklyn 101.3 implied points. Miami 111.8 implied points. Jimmy Butler questionable, so that's a key one. If you get him out again, Tyler Hero going to look a lot better. As it is right now, I'm getting him 21% compared to the field's 11. Low on Bam Adebayo, but Butler's Q tag key to watch. Nets guys, I don't see a lot to love here. Ben Simmons has been decent. Projected to play 30.2 minutes today. I got him 8% compared to the field's 8.6. Cam Johnson 6.7 compared to the field's 6. I'm not off on these guys from market, but nobody above 10%. Really hard to have a priority. Really a low-paced game. Both teams playing under 97 possessions per game. Kind of not where you want to be. Toronto, 106 implied points. The Knicks, 120 implied points. Nothing on Toronto's side. If RJ Barrett is out with that Q tag, Grady Dick's going to look better. Scotty Barnes is going to look better. That's basically it, though, for right now. If Barrett goes, you probably don't want much here besides maybe tournament plays. For New York on their side, Towns, we talked about, looks pretty good to me, 23% compared to the field 7. Everybody else under 5% for me. Brunson, field's getting 7%. I've been low on Brunson every day this year. That said, the projection is getting closer at an $8,300 salary, so you could go Brunson's way, but kind of Towns or bust for me on the Knicks side of the equation. Minnesota, 113.8 implied points. Huge pace-up spot for them versus Atlanta. Atlanta, as the chat was saying before, questionable tag for Trae Young. It's a key one to watch out for. If Trae Young is out, you're going to open up a lot more for Jalen Johnson, a lot more for not a lot more for Keaton Wallace. Bogdan Bogdanović would get more, though I think he's also questionable. Basically, a lot of things to wonder. Dyson Daniels should get more as well. Though at 6,700, he wouldn't be a great play. But basically right now, because of Trae Young being in, nobody looks good. I have nobody above 2% ownership. Honestly, nobody above 1.5%. On the Minnesota side, because of that huge pace up, they look a little bit better than usual for me. I'm Anthony Edwards getting him 7%. Still the field's at 16. Randall, I'm just never going to get at this point. He's just not been good in this new environment. Price tag's down to 7,300. I'm getting him 2%. Field will be at 11. It is a pace-up spot, so you just want to play that. You can play Randall more than I'm going to, but it's hard to project it for me. Like, I don't know why he's down this low. Like, I account for matchup, account for possessions, account for deficiencies, above average rebounding allowed, above average shooting and whatever. If he's not getting there, I don't know. Not crazy about Randall. Rudy Gobert, 3%. Mike Conley, 3%. 21% Jaden McDaniels, which I don't know why that would be. I assume a little bit more turnovers to go around from Atlanta's team would be my guess. And they're kind of flowing into Jaden McDaniels. Or maybe just my data products know that I like players with the name Jaden and Daniels in their name. But Jaden McDaniels here, 21%. That's okay. Naz Reid, 16%. DiVincenzo, 12%. I think these salaries just work with lineups. So my guess, no real lean for it. Naz a bargain. He's okay. I mean, 24 minutes, 24.4 projection. He's okay. Power forward center, certainly nice. But, I mean, I'd rather take the shot on C. Mikhailiuk, I think, just given the usage floating around there. Jaden Daniels' Irish brother. Yeah, just put a Mick in front of his name, and then you're good to go. Take out a Y. In Atlanta, we talked about here, you need the Trae Young news. Nobody looks playable right now. Clippers 111.8, Memphis 117.8. Big pace up on paper for the Clippers. I'm getting Norman Powell a lot as a result. 2x the field here, 7K salary, shooting guard, small forward. Probably works well with a lot of different lineups. James Harden, 14% some exposure compared to 16. Zubac, 10%. Zubac also questionable. If he's out, you're going to get more Mo Bamba. He would certainly become a much better value. Bet Nas over 10.5 points. All right, there we go. I would have Nas at 12.1, so I'm okay with that. Especially got plus money on it, even better. Yeah, so Mo Bamba would get a pretty big bump up if you did get Zubac out. It's probably the main thing I would highlight here. I guess Kai Jones would get a few more minutes as a backup, and he's 3K minimum. Besides that, I don't love a lot here. Memphis still a good defensively sound team. Feel like the kind of team as well, and I think they have put the clamps on James Harden in the past. So worry a little bit about Harden. I think Norman Powell getting off the secondary options okay. Again, you're getting the pace up, decent total here. Yeah, Harden I worry about with this much ownership, but Norman Powell, that's a lot of Norman Powell too. Memphis getting 13% Ja Morant. I don't really know how or why. Jaren Jackson getting 14% him. None of these guys play big minutes, which is sort of your concern for Memphis. Ja Morant can play a little bit over 30, but like Bane really never gets over 30. Jaren Jackson never gets over 30. That said, at their price points, they're cheap enough. I do have Jaren Jackson projected more highly at 37.9 fantasy points than Stokastic. I have Ja Morant higher as well at 47.4 compared to 42.5. So it's not a big enough ownership stand that I'd walk away from it. Both guys have been good. 1.4 fantasy points per minute for Ja Morant, 1.32 for Jaren Jackson. I'm surprised to see them come up though, because I really never get Grizzlies because the lack of minutes. But okay, maybe a little bit of a pat on the back here for Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson, even though it doesn't feel like a full-throated stand I'd want to give for that. Washington, 104 implied points. No Kuzma again for them. Kuzma trade rumors starting to heat up a little bit. Apparently, they're dead set on trading him within the next 6 weeks. For Washington, nobody here looks that good to me. I got nobody above 2%. Alex Sarr, questionable, would open things up a little bit for, I think, Keyshawn George. Probably maybe a few more minutes for Jonas Valanciunas. But again, the Q tags here for Sarr, for Koulibaly. Key things to watch out for now. That's it. They're playing the Thunder, so there's not a lot to love anyway. Thunder getting a soft matchup versus Washington. Do think it's great for Hartenstein, a guy who I always have a little bit more of the field in terms of projection. Getting him in 23% of my top 150 lineups. The field's at 13%. Jalen Williams getting 11 compared to 14. I'm light on him. I'm much lighter on SGA. I think I have LaMelo being higher projected at less salary, so that's probably the issue there. I have no issue going to SGA. Think it's a nice spot, obviously, against Washington. It does feel like these kind of games. I think you see a little more Jalen Williams, a little more Hartenstein production, probably some more from the guys in the wing. I don't think SGA has to get pushed that hard. And at his salary, it's a little bit tough, but Stokastic has him 2.8 points higher. So you got 15%, nothing wrong with that. I just did not get that naturally. The key game on the slate, you got Bobby Portis, as you saw up top, getting 99% of them. Feel to be at 95. He's just mispriced if he's going to play 32 minutes and have this much opportunity with this high of a team total. Playing Chicago as well, pace up spot with a bad defense. So Bobby Portis looks good. He put up 70 over the weekend. I don't expect him to do that again, but if he does, if he puts up 40, you probably needed a score. And right now he's projected for about 5 more points than that from Stokastic, 7.5 more for me, and I didn't even tweak the rates at all. Chris Middleton, again, looks pretty good despite the 24 minutes. If you're not going to play any buck, I think Middleton, you have the most credible reason not to do it, just because of the fact those minutes can't get that high. That said, I did get him in 47% of my top 150 lineups, so he does look good. He's probably due to shoot better as well with under 50% true shooting on the year. But he'll rebound a little bit, assist a good amount, 38% assist rate on the year. He's playing pretty well so far to start the year. Very, very distribution-minded, which is a positive, I think, for his DFS outlook. Brook Lopez got him 9% compared to the field 17. Okay play here. Feel like he's a little bit sneaky tournament-wise. If he somehow went nuts here, maybe he pulls away from Portis. Still think it'd be hard for Portis not to get there relative to his salary. But maybe Portis and Lopez hit. That's how they kind of stay ahead of Chicago. I don't think Lopez is a bad play, but I naturally am not getting him a lot. AJ Green, same thing. Gary Trent, same thing. Field will get him 13%. I got 5. He's been awful on the year. 0.6 fantasy points per minute. At a 0.67 a day. Ryan Rollins, my guy. I've liked him before when he's chalk. Now we get him back into the lineup after his shoulder issues. $3,500 salary, projected to play 28 minutes. He's going to be 86% owned by the field. I'll get him in every lineup right now. He's averaging 1.02 fantasy points per minute. I'm at 1.14 today. Kid's been good. Ryan Rollins, your thumbnail guy, if you don't know who that is here. He's not famous, but he is in my heart. He's played really well whenever I had an opportunity to play him in DFS. Chicago got nobody here, 2% Zach LaVine, nothing else above 1.5%. Portland, Dallas, another low-owned game for me, getting nothing on Portland besides a little bit of Denny Avdia with their 109.5 implied points. Dallas with Luka Doncic, nobody looks that good for me. Slight price up for Kyrie Irving, slight price up for PJ Washington, reflecting their 7 or so days without Luka Doncic in a lineup. Luka hasn't played since he went nuts versus Golden State. Hard to expect him getting a big ramp up here, 33.5 minutes. Don't know that he gets the high 30s. Don't know that he needs to versus Portland. Luka, hard for me to love him in this spot, but it'll be 4% owned. So tournament option for sure. And then Phoenix, this one is it's honestly not even on the FanDuel slate, but here's your Phoenix projections. That's that. And here's the Indiana Golden State ones and Detroit Lakers. So 3 games on that. Jesus Christ. Sorry, there's 14 games in total today. That's too much. Anthony's been hasn't affected the overall rates for the year, has he? Yeah, I mean, I still have him lowly projected here, so I don't know if maybe it's a small sample size the last few games, but he's still averaging only 0.94 fantasy points per minute. Shooting's looking a little bit better, but still needs to get much better. I like Simons. I hope he does get better in general, but I feel like he's really lost a lot of usage having Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant. He's got like a lot of shitty guys around him now that take like 20% usage, and his best outcome and why they paid him so much money, I thought was like having him be their like 30% usage guy. And he's just not doing that so much. I don't know, but if you want to chase him, you can. I didn't notice anything that hot about him though. All right. Yes. Time for more graphs. Let's go to the world unabated. Of course, guys, you saw the deal I mentioned before. If you want to get unabated here, check it out. I should probably change the order. So I should show you the video first and then we show the coupon thing. So let's do that. Let's head to the world of unabated, guys, and learn more about their conditional NBA projections coming up right now. Oh, even though the holidays are up, the data keeps on uploading at unabated. Still bet. If you want to be with your family, place some bets, you can do that. If you want to run away from your family, place some bets, you can do that. Additional projections, you need them on a day like today where everybody in the league is questionable. All 100-something players on a slate, they all have a Q tag next to their name. Scarlet letter, many are saying. Alternate prop line pricing, you know what we're going to get next. The Christmas gift you've been waiting for. Hey, Santa, give me some grass. I'm sitting on your lap, Santa. I'm bouncing. Don't make it weird, Santa. Just show me some grass. That's what happens. Expert game day live streams. More expert than this stream? Question mark. Then you'll be counting your money at Unabated. Unabated.com/NBA. Click the link in the description and then go take advantage of this one. Christmas hoops, $699 for the rest of the year. It seems like a lot, but if you are betting enough here, following the data here, I'm going to show you in a moment. Let me go back to points. If you're betting the stuff every day and using the tool to its maximum capacity, you're going to have a lot more success. So come to the world of Unabated here. You're seeing on the screen right now. Let's see what you got. And you have things like this, the simulation tool. Right now, we have all the Q tag players not in, so we can just see the scenarios that we know exist that are not going to be changed around in the slate. And it's not a lot of teams because everybody's got a Q tag player, as I mentioned up top. We've still got enough players in, enough teams. All right, we'll have some good markets. Just letting them all populate before I sort everything. And now let's sort this out. Also, I think if I win the big board, I'm going to buy a new production laptop. I feel like this one's starting to get a little sluggish, and it's chafing my style here. Warm up your kettle drums, and thank you. Hard and erect as a real Christmas tree. Not a fake one. Not a fake one. Even though I think those are stiffer, right? Karis LeVert, your top bet right now here for points. Under 11.5 points on PrizePicks. Again, all the Q tag players, we're not dealing with them. If you wanted to go one by one, say, oh, I think Desmond Bane plays, you could simulate off of that. You wanted to pick all the players you think play, you could do that. But I think for this slate, we've still got enough games with players without Q tags. So that's how it's looking. Karis LeVert, 14% EV on PrizePicks, 11% EV under 11.5 points on DraftKings Sportsbook, and borderline playable at under 10.5 points, minus 102 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. But for this Karis LeVert line, you want it on PrizePicks, you want it on DK. You can take it on FanDuel if you want. Where's that unabated sticker? Click that. There you go. There's an unabated sticker. Joel Embiid, 13.9% EV on under 29.5 points. That's at minus 105 odds on DK Sportsbook. You could bet it on PrizePicks and Underdog, about 7.8% EV there. Ideally, you want to see an over 8% EV, but definitely looks okay as well on FanDuel Sportsbook. Under 29.5 points for Joel Embiid, minus 110 odds on there. But get it on DK at minus 105 if you want the best odds. Josh Green, 13% EV for him. We got over 7.5, minus 102 odds. Need more cowbells. Oh, it is appropriate for the season. Cowbells, a lot like sleigh bells. Josh Green, over 7.5 points, 13% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. You don't want it anywhere else. George Niang, under 8.5 points, minus 104 odds right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. Of course, if you're tuning in now, guys, stay tuned. We'll DFS lineups as soon as I finish up with these betting markets. KJ Martin, under 6.5 points. That's 10.6% EV, only on an Underdog pick'em, not available elsewhere. Stephon Castle, under 8.5 points, minus 118 odds. Having Devin Vassell back in for Castle, I should say Vassell. I think that'll make it an easier distinction. Having Devin Vassell back in for Castle, not a good thing in terms of his usage. So this one looks the best on PrizePicks, 10.6% EV for Stephon Castle, under 8.5 points. And last but not least for points, we have Caleb Martin under 7.5 points. That one's minus 115 on FanDuel. Also bettable on PrizePicks under 7.5 there, 8.4% EV. Let's go to rebounds next. Let's sim out these rebounds. Only for teams where we don't have a Q tag question. So we're getting less markets in, but we'll have full confidence about them right now without worrying about which players are playing or not playing today. There are a lot of them that going to go either way. Miles Bridges, under 7 rebounds for him. That one looks like one of the best bets on PrizePicks. 20% EV for Miles Bridges, under 7 rebounds on PrizePicks. Also playable on DK Sportsbook. Excuse me. 13.4% EV for under 6.5 rebounds at plus 100 odds. So basically like you're not playing vig there on that bet. 11.2% EV on under 6.5 rebounds for minus 104 odds. So DK Sportsbook, I have to say, softer lines for these NBA props than I normally would have thought, given how they juice everything to death. I feel like they're softer than FanDuel very often. Team's got to stop blocking your beautiful UConn boys. Well, you know, they're too beautiful. Perhaps that's the issue. Denny Avdia, under 5.5 rebounds, 14% EV for an Underdog pick'em. Still bettable as well on FanDuel, not on FanDuel, on DraftKings Sportsbook. 11% EV for Denny Avdia, under 5.5 rebounds at minus 125 odds. Underdog looks the best, though, 14% EV. Anthony Simons, under 2.5 rebounds, gets you plus 120 odds, 12.2% EV on DK Sportsbook. And not bettable on FanDuel, PrizePicks or Underdog. But Simons under 2.5 rebounds does look good on Underdog at plus 120, or on DraftKings at plus 120. Anthony Edwards, 11.9% EV on over 5.5 rebounds, plus 110 odds on DK Sportsbook. And you can bet it on FanDuel as well, plus 104 odds there for over 5.5 rebounds on Anthony Edwards. Alperen Sengun, over 10 rebounds, playable on PrizePicks, 11.4% EV for Sengun to get over 10 rebounds. Nowhere else would you want to play it. Tamani Kamara, under 5.5 rebounds, 9.8% EV for him on FanDuel Sportsbook. Bettable as well on DK Sportsbook, where it's 8.8% EV at minus 145 odds for Tamani Kamara, under 5.5 rebounds. And Mark Williams, not playing a lot of minutes yet, been crazy productive. I'd be a little bit scared of this one, but under 7 rebounds, gets you 9.7% EV for PrizePicks on Mark Williams. Also 9% EV, under 7.5 at minus 145 on DraftKings Sportsbook for Mark Williams. Assists coming up next here. Then we'll do PRAs and, of course, the sim to DFS lineups. 5 o'clock, I'll be on Stokastic for the deeper dive, so come check that one out as well. Going tete-a-tete with my pal Josh Engelman. And then, and tomorrow, I'm planning to have at least Christmas NFL slate on the Splash Play channel. Of course, no NBA slate tomorrow, so nothing for that on this channel, but maybe a Christmas Day video here. Stay tuned. I'm not sure that's going to work timing-wise. Definitely ones, though, on Thursday and Friday when we're back to normal, because I'm not taking Christmas week off. The work continues on, he says, like a mad scientist. Jeremy Grant, under 2.5 assists, 12.9% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog, not playable elsewhere. But Jeremy Grant, under 2.5 assists, looks good for your pick'em sites. Denny Avdia, under 2.5 assists for him, looks good as well at minus 105 odds. Under on assists for both the Blazers guys. Kind of odd. 8.9% EV on DK Sportsbook at minus 105 odds. You don't want it on PrizePicks, Underdog, or FanDuel. Of course, there's a lot more books too. If you pay for Unabated yourself, I'm only showing you the top books that I know everybody's got. But if you want to get specific, take your bet 365s, your bet MGMs, all of those. You can then filter these in more. I'm limited here as what I show on screen. In part by request by Unabated, to not kill their EV for customers because they care about stuff like that. Fred VanVleet, under 6.5 assists, 7.7% EV on DK Sportsbook. Probably don't want it elsewhere. And again, less market showing here because we have all the Q tag guys and teams. We're not taking those bets right now. We don't know the status. And frankly, with it being Christmas week and there being a little bit of a break, it wouldn't be crazy to see a lot of guys miss today. So keep that in mind. And just making sure we're populating all the bets that are being simmed out for our last run here on PRAs. Deni Avdija under 19.5 PRAs. Looks good on PrizePicks and Underdog. 11.4% EV on there. For DK Sportsbook, 8.6% EV on under 19.5 PRAs for Deni Avdija, and you don't want it on FanDuel. Miles Bridges under 26.5 PRAs, minus 110 odds on DK Sportsbook. Looks like the best bet right now. Still 7.5% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog, where it's under 26.5 PRAs at their usual pick 'em pricing. And Rudy Gobert, you play this one if you just want to get a bet. 7.4% EV on over 23.5 PRAs. That's minus 125 odds. You don't want it on PrizePicks and Underdog, but I think we've got enough to build a card for all the sites. Obviously, enough bets for the primary sports books. So we did the best we could here on a day where there are legitimately 15 Q-Tag guys. So let's go to the DFS Sims now, and let's see what we get in Stokastic's domain here before I head over to their YouTube channel and see all their beautiful faces. I don't know. I had to say something there. Beautiful faces does not feel like the right. but yeah, beautiful faces, sure. That seems like a nice thing to say, right? And guys, if you appreciate this content, again, I do these videos Monday to Friday every day, showing you my projections, showing you my data, comparing it to the leading tools and leading projections in the space. So please do show some love here. Subscribe down below with the like button, leave a comment, trying to get to our first 500 subs. And we're launching the channel about a little bit less than 2 months ago. So been nice growth here. We're moving on the right trajectory. Live viewers here looking pretty good despite Christmas week. Appreciate all you guys tuning in, but do click the things, click like, subscribe. And check out Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash with promo code SPLASH. Stokastic, 15% off, the best deal they have going right now. Promo code SPLASH there as well, or click the link in the description. Both will get you where you need to go. And, of course, Unabated, $30 off, or take their Christmas deal right now. Get a year of their NBA data for $699, which is much cheaper than the monthly packages and all that. Check it out. Check it. Wiki. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. Not just, I do feel more inclined to say happy holidays. It's not me being a woke liberal, even though, hey, I'm so woke. But for I think in general, I feel like Christmas is making a comeback. I don't know if it's because of the political climate or what, but I feel like I'm getting a lot of Christmases. But for all my Jewish friends out there too, hey, happy holidays. I think both apply. Christmas Eve coming up tomorrow. Hopefully you've all been good boys and girls. You don't need Santa to spank you. You bare bottom and balls, as Tim Robinson would say. I hope. And if you do need to be spanked, I hope it's consenting and enjoyful, or consentful. Hopefully not contemptful. This is what we talk about while the sim loads. We got to compile our results. And I have to run another sim before I do Stokastic, because it looks like they gave an update here recently. Your top lineups right now. Number 1, LaMelo Ball. Top ROI lineup at 147.5%. Anthony Edwards, Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins just comes along to the party in DFS lineups every fucking time. We got Jonathan Isaac, Joel Embiid, Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. So you're getting $3 here. Then some other value still, and LaMelo and Edwards as your pay-up options. Number 2, you're getting Ben Simmons, reasonable price tag for him if he's playing 30 minutes. You get that. Anthony Edwards, Aaron Wiggins again, fucking Aaron Wiggins. Bobby Portis, Alperen Şengün, like him as we talked about. Ryan Rollins, Jalen Williams, Brook Lopez. Number 3, LaMelo Ball, Gary Trent, Lowry Markkanen, Noah Clowney, Joel Embiid, Ryan Robbins, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. So this big 3 making it all the time for Stokastic's top lineups. Number 4, LaMelo Ball again, Colin Sexton, Lowry Markkanen, Kyle Filipowski, Joel Embiid, Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. And number 5, which may have a dupe on it, which probably means it would have a lot of dupes. Ben Simmons, Anthony Edwards, Chris Middleton, Noah Clowney, Joel Embiid, Ryan Rollins, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. The gang is reunited once more. In terms of the top 150 lineups, your highest ROI is Brook Lopez. So I was not getting a ton of Brook Lopez. The Stokastic Sims, which do not have my data involved in it at all right now. You're getting a lot more Brook Lopez here than anything else. Highest ROI at nearly 4%. Aaron Wiggins, a flat 0% ROI, technically one of the highest. He is 3,100 and playing Washington. So good producer, playing a bad team, not getting starter minutes, which is the concern point, but I get Wiggins. Jonathan Isaac, you need another value at 3,500. He's coming up. Walker Kessler, the Sims seem to like enough, negative 2% ROI, which again is relatively high in the slate. Noah Clowney, Tristan Da Silva, Ben Simmons, all these guys negative as well, but towards the higher end of negative right now. That's 10-year death anniversary tomorrow, pouring out for his alcoholic ass. Okay, that's dark, but Chunk, I hope you're handling it well. And shout out to Chunk's dad, alcoholic, not a part aside. Bobby Portis, 99% exposure compared to the field's 95. So in basically every lineup for me, I was getting Rollins in all of them, and Portis in about the same one. We're basically not getting him in a handful of lineups. The top 150. Brook Lopez, 55% compared to 19. Joel Embiid, 47% compared to 25. Chris Middleton, 36 compared to 24. So big stands of the Bucks here. 4 out of the top 5 guys are positive stands relative to exposure. Lowry Markkanen, 26% compared to 19. And Anthony Edwards, 25% compared to 17. A little bit surprised with Saints rolled out MVS. So there you go. Great day to play Kevin Austin, Dante Pettis. All the gang's looking good there. Your highest leverage guys for the NBA tonight: Brook Lopez, 36% more than the field. It is Festivus for some of the rest of us. That's true. Grease up your pole and get ready to wrestle. Joel Embiid, which, let's be clear, is a Festivus thing. I'm not saying that in any untoward way. Joel Embiid, 22% leverage. Ben Simmons, 15%. Ryan Rollins, 12% more than the field. He'll be played 83% of the time. You still got to get more. Chris Middleton, 12% leverage. Walker Kessler, 11. Gary Trent, 8. Your most negative leverage plays: Norman Powell. They're low on Norman Powell, and I was high in him. That doesn't make me feel good. Negative 14% Powell, negative 11% Zubac. They are not buying the Clippers Memphis spot in the Sims here for some reason. SGA, negative 10% leverage here from the Sims, top 150 lineups. Jaden McDaniels, negative 10%. They don't support the Jaden/Daniels play. Fred VanVleet, negative 7%. Jalen Suggs, negative 7%. Karl Anthony Towns, negative 5%. Me and Stokastic do not agree today on a lot of things. Splash plays of the day, guys. Again, Merry Christmas to you all. Hope it's a good one. If you got some money burning a hole in your pocket or want to get a gift for somebody in your life, Stokastic, 15% off, promo code SPLASH. Unabated, $30 off. Of course, check out their Christmas deal as well. Not sure if the combos will play together, but click the link in the description. And if you want to do the yearly deal, you can do that too. It'll look good for everybody. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Do that. And your splash plays of the day, and subscribe and hit the like button too. Again, it does go a long way for me. I'm just one guy running 2 channels, dealing with the trolls, dealing with the bullshit along the way, just doing the best I can to give you guys good data and at least a read on what the slate looks like based upon some of the top tools in the space. My splash plays for the day: number 1 would be Ryan Rollins. Number 2 is Bobby Portis. Don't overthink it. They look too good right now. If Portis doesn't start, I would have a real issue not playing him, or an issue playing with him rather. Basically, if he doesn't start, he's probably going to play backup 5, which happened one time when Giannis was out. Didn't really make sense that day. But fucking Doc Rivers does weird shit like that. So just make sure Bobby Portis is starting. Otherwise, he might get jerked around in minutes, even though it doesn't seem like he should. Ryan Rollins, though, should be good no matter what. And I do think Portis should be good. But just be careful because Doc Rivers does do shit like that. Other splash plays in the slate: I do like Towns more than the field. I think I'm pretty comfortable with that. Besides that, really not a great value slate, so I don't think there's any that would fit that criteria besides Ryan Rollins, who I do believe in pretty handily. I'd say Walker Kessler's one. I think I'm going to get him a good amount in lineups, and I think whatever I put into my highest dollar tournaments today will probably be that as well. I'm just taking a look at projections one more time here. Yeah, LaMelo Ball, too, I feel pretty strongly about. The Houston matchup scares me a little bit. It is going to be decently owned, but I do like LaMelo Ball a little bit more. But yeah, really center: Towns, Şengün, value, Ryan Rollins, and Bobby Portis. Everything else, choose your own adventure, I guess, is basically it. That's it, guys. Again, I'll be back on Stokastic in 9 minutes, to come check me out there. Hang out with me and my pal, Josh Engelman. Gamble responsibly, even though it's always money time here. And again, Merry Christmas to you guys. No matter what amount of traumas or whatever you're going through, hopefully mostly positive things out there for you guys at this point. Enjoy the time, whether it's to yourself, whether it's with family. There's no judgment for me here. Unless you're like a troll, then I do judge you for not having family that wants to hang out with you. But honestly, whatever's going to make you happy, do it for yourself this Christmas. Do it for you this holiday season. Try to make it good. But I appreciate all you guys being here. Back on maybe Wednesday, but probably Thursday on this channel. Back tomorrow for the NFL Christmas slate on the Splashway NFL channel. Come check that out. And back in 9 minutes on Stokastic, talking more NBA. So I'll see you guys there. Enjoy your days and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho.